welcome. Today I'm doing a true crime reading, and I'm doing today Ann Widdecombe from the UK. She's a well-known media person, also a politician, that her death announcement was on Friday the 10th of July. However, the day that they're saying she passed was Wednesday the 8th, and I'll go through the details of her passing and we'll pull some cards here. I'm choosing this one today because I had a dream, and normally my true crime readings correspond to dreams that I had. I was looking at doing a true crime reading this week, and I chose 3 names of people I would look at, didn't go into the details of their case, and then fell asleep and had a dream. I was looking through a window, choosing through different boxes, and I couldn't take my eyes off the box that looked like a English cottage. So when I woke up, I'd forgotten that I asked about what true crime am I reading today, and then I realized, okay, the English cottage one would relate to Ann Widdecombe. So that's what I'm reading today. Didn't get any. There was some things that come up in the dream, but I can't remember exactly what they were. I know it was related to one person that did something and then went back to other people. So I don't know, does that mean there's a network? What does that mean? Does it just mean joined back to other people to say that they were, with other people? However, they do have a suspect arrested here. So let me tap into the energy here. I'm just going to pull a picture up of her face so I can read into the energy here. Now this is a new one. New ones tend to have a stronger connection when they're a brand new case. Okay, as I say that, I'm wanting to choke or cough, or I can't breathe. Okay, so for today's reading, I'm going to be using my case clarifier as well as my investigation deck, and I may, because it's a bit political, have the political cards on standby here, because they're saying it's not a politically motivated, but then the counter-terrorism department got involved in the situation. So let's try and break it down and work through here. I'm going to start with my investigation deck first of all. As I pulled up the photo of Anne, I saw that somebody was charged with, a 50-year-old woman was charged with allegedly saying, wishing her a painful death, and then apparently she's been charged. So please note, everything I'm talking about today is card reading only. It is non-factual, entertainment purposes only, and is all alleged. Everything that I say here is alleged, card reading only. So that's my little disclaimer. But yeah, I was quite shocked to see that. But what that shows me, this is a political, it shows the tension around political opinions when it comes to this person. So while the police may have said that it's not, and I'll read through political, there must be some political element to it here. So as I'm pulling the cards, I'm going to read through here. Wednesday the 8th was the day of the attack. Anne appeared at 8 o'clock on Talk TV from her home. She discusses Nigel Farage and Reform UK. Authority. The authority of the police. Let me have a look. Okay, 12:14 to 12:19, she exchanges WhatsApp messages with Channel 5 producer to arrange a Zoom interview. The last message reads, received, panic over, must have been looking for a link or something. Then it says that police or authority believe she was attacked and this would align. So authority believed that the timing of that she was attacked in her home was 12:30, just after that happened, and the end of the situation world card is the end, marked around 12:30 on the 8th of July. Producer sent several messages, all went unresponded. Around 9 a.m, local report, neighbour reports a suspicious VW Golf parked near her home, driven by a man in the late 20s, early 30s. Let's see what the cards want to say about that person. The suspicious VW Golf. dark intentions or motive. The person in the suspicious VW Golf. Okay, we've got a bit of, these fell out in a clump, which means they're not all meant to come out. Okay, so what was his dark intentions? Or why did he have dark intentions? What was the motive here? What was the motive? So we're looking at accomplice or had help. Checking for DNA evidence. So checking for DNA evidence to see if there was more than one person involved. That's an investigation line that doesn't answer my question about what are the motives for this murder. What were the motives for this murder? A violent confrontation, and the person was sacrificed. So it was a violent confrontation. Perhaps the motive could have been making a sacrifice, making an example out of somebody. Okay, so body discovered on the 9th, which was Thursday the 9th. Dead with serious injuries. And I'm just reading the headlines, and I'm sorry to talk that way. So showing here that there are 2 crimes connected to this. So maybe somebody is involved in another type of crime. The person committing this crime is involved in some kind of other illegal operation. Okay, the resilient slow process bothers me because the hangman can also be a delayed response, or, well, you know what, delayed response could be how long it took to find her. And it was, so if this happened on the 8th of July, it was like a full 24 hours before they discovered her. And that is a slow process. So, Friday the 10th, death was announced, murder investigation begins. Her management releases statements confirming her death without mentioning suspicious circumstances. Or hidden clues or any breakthroughs that they've had were not released at that time. Devon and Cornwall Police formally announce a murder investigation. They say there is no evidence of a political or terror motivation at this stage. It's the beginning of the journey. It's the beginning here. So looking into any organised meetings. More information. What do you mean by that? Recent meetings she had, recent things she had said. A missing piece taken away. Looking for a missing piece, maybe a murder weapon missing. Something taken outside. Evidence. Okay, let's get deeper here. Let's move into this one a little further. And I just want to say, finished by the timeline. The timeline says that the first suspect was released. They had a suspect 6:30 on Saturday, the 11th of July. First arrest was first person released is no longer a suspect. And then by late that evening, they had arrested a 28-year-old man 270 miles away from her home. This is the second suspect that they believe to be the alleged murderer. On Monday the 13th of July, counter-terrorism police take over. Let's just pull that. No. Let's pull a government card for that as I'm reading through those details. And then I'll pull a full spread. once we've got the facts and the timeline established. So just really this timeline is what we're looking at, and we're looking for any holes. We're looking for what needs to be delved a little bit deeper here. Counterterrorism police announced that they are now leading the investigation, saying new evidence has come to light. What about all those new evidence, those evidence cards that were coming up? Yes. Taking action. Yes. There are misleading headlines, which are concerning. And maybe that's why some people are being arrested for certain things that they've said on social media. So some concerning headlines on social media or media, I feel probably more social media, from the collective. Well, this looks kind of a little deeper in that there's a collective action or a collective response to stop something, to stop her from saying something, to stop her from promoting something. So yes, there is because the question I'm looking at here is the Monday the 13th of July counterterrorism police takeover. They're now leading the investigation, saying that new evidence has come to light. Maybe this new evidence is surrounding a collective group, which is why we would have had that card of accomplice and looking for evidence of how many people were on the ground. Doesn't mean there was more than one, but there feels to be more people in the background. It's like the dream that I had last night. One person done something, I don't know what they done, but then I saw them go to a group of people. And then we see this card of collective action, wanting to stop for justice, because I'm reading the words on the card now in the background, because of some misleading headlines. So yes, they are, and yes, it is a counter-terrorism issue. Yes. They've got some new evidence that's come to light. So let's delve into that evidence. And there is collective action here. That's people, that's a group, maybe a terrorism organization, a group. Okay, so now we're looking into, when we're looking at the evidence, and we saw those two evidence cards, we're looking at police investigating the connections that this person that they have as a suspect and their connections to organized crime or organized, like a collective terrorism group. What connections does this person have? At the same time, why am I thinking about somebody that is arrested because of what they're saying online? Because maybe there's some kind of hate speech or something going on online, and they're looking, finding leads that way. Maybe he commented on something. Maybe he's tied to some group or post that way. Maybe it's because it's what they're looking at his activity, his social media activity, and what groups he's involved in, where he's actively commenting on certain groups. Publicly doesn't mean anything was organized publicly. It means that they're looking at the leads. They're looking at leads into what collective groups he's involved with. I think somebody was tracking her movements for some time. I think they were watching her. Now, I think it's connected to things she was saying, and people wanted to put a stop to what she was saying. So I do feel there's a political motive behind this. And there was some strategy and planning. And I feel in that strategy and planning, they were following her, they were tracking her movements, and this was going on for a long time. Probably looking for the perfect moment. So I don't think this was like a spontaneous thing, that a crime of opportunity. This was a planned event where they were looking for the perfect time, but also they were trying to prevent her from talking about something. So there's evidence, the evidence. Okay, so this reckless behavior, this is the Knight of Wands energy. Might have been a bit reckless in how it was carried out, leaving evidence. So I don't think this person was precise and strategic in the crime scene. However, they were strategic in leading up to the crime scene. So then why wouldn't they be strategic around the crime scene as well? We're seeing recklessness, impulsiveness. Knight of Wands is quick response, somebody that doesn't think before they act before they think. However, there is definitely strategy and planning in the lead up. So this person was so far away, but knew when she was going to be home. So they couldn't. So was somebody else tracking her movements closer to the scene, and then brought in somebody that was reckless? Because they're energies that just feel different. So it feels like there was somebody was strategically planning. They were following her moves. They were tracking her for a long time. But then the person that came in was Knight of Wands, somebody sent in to do the job. How the tarot works is the king gives the orders and the knight responds and goes in to do the job. And the Wands knight is the fastest moving, the most reckless, the most impulsive one of all of the signs. Fire connected to Wands, the Wands card. So tracking her movements. Now what is this evidence and statement? So something in the house, running out of time. So looking at timings going on and searching. So let me go a little bit further here about why all of a sudden they've found some evidence around. That's what I really want to look into. What kind of evidence did they find that would make them change this to a counter-terrorism response team? Interesting, because we've got the sacrifice card again. So Seven of Wands, Hangman. Suggested involvement was the first card that came out. So why they've changed from it being a murder investigation into a counter-terrorism response after the police had said that they don't believe it's politically connected, and then the counter-terrorism gets involved a few days later. So they made that change based on leads that they were looking at. Leads, as I mentioned, because they arrested somebody and then they're looking at his history, groups he's aligned to, connections they've made around him. So then that what they've found, who he's connected to, what collective groups, what action groups or terrorism groups even that he's connected to or commented on and watching, actively involved in or participating in, is where they've said, okay, this is politically minded, this is a counter-terrorism event. So then we're looking at, again, sacrifice. It's somebody that is made an example of. Defensive. This is defensive. And usually that means defensive wounds. Because, and here it says cold case leads exhausted, but I feel like this is the leads that they've got from the person that they've arrested, the 28-year-old that they've arrested. From that they've got leads going here and there, and that's what they've connected it, and then that then implicates them involvement in a terrorism group or some kind of collective group. So that's why they've changed it from a murder investigation to a counter-terrorism, because of the leads, maybe the social media leads, but maybe there's some leads there that's why they changed it. So now they're looking at it as a sacrifice, a sacrificial thing, and I don't mean black magic sacrificial. I mean setting an example of somebody. Okay, tell us something that we're not aware of. Tell us something that's been hidden and not released in the media, please. First thing that they're not releasing around this case is that there is dark web connections here. Money paid, money exchange for a dark event. This is a dark underground group connected to the dark web. Group involvement. So this is it's an underground dark web kind of group. So when they were showing me the leads coming from this person to their social media kind of history, their connections, I don't think it's general social media. I think it's dark web connections. I haven't been on the dark web, so I don't know what that's like, but I feel like this is connected to investigating. Now it probably used a VPN, probably I don't know how investigation works. So as far as how well this person covered their tracks as far as what they're looking at on the dark web or who they're connecting to on the dark web, but there seems to be a group involvement here. Freedom and justice, freedom and justice for all, freedom and justice for all, a group involvement. Then not releasing the violence level on this, which makes me feel very sick. Again, also they're saying that this group is connected to other crimes. They're involved with other crimes. Okay, so tampering with something, tampering with evidence. No, I don't think that's it. Okay, what they're not revealing is that the level of violence involved here and that there is connected to another crime, perhaps another person, another event that took place. There's connections between the two, either by similarities in the crime scene or similarity, or they've found the connections or the leads to this dark web underground kind of group that have been responsible for other victims. Person mentally unstable. This is the person. The person that done the job. Life was imbalance. Life imbalance. Mentally unstable. Maybe doesn't care if they live or die. So what they're not telling us is the level of violence involved here, and that it was connected to another crime or connected to another victim through the group involvement is the connection. So it may not have been that one person that done the same two crimes, but the group is responsible for other crimes via this these leads into this underground activity or this underground group. Okay, I keep saying under the surface, so there's more here. So I don't know, I wonder if that means past crimes, past events. Final reading on this spread. We've got that this person, my apologies, Ann's associates and what proved faithful. That was because of what she believed in, who she was connected to, who she was associated with, proved to be a faithful tie. It was a dilemma in a dangerous, placed her in a dangerous situation. She was vulnerable, one, because she was living alone out in the country, at her age, associated with who she was associated with, and that left her in a vulnerable situation. It proved to be faithful because of who she was associated with. And she was either going to make a fuss about something, or going to start talking about something, going to make a commotion about something. And that put her in a dilemma, in a dangerous situation. What I'm picking up out of these cards, as well as this last spread here, is that maybe something she was talking about, or something she was involved in, or something she was about to start talking about, was what put her in a risky situation. Talking, or so I saw then. What she was talking about put her in a risky situation. It was risky to talk about whatever she was talking, and I don't know what she was talking about or about to talk about. More than one involved. Somebody behind a mask. And here we are seeing the dark ritual card. So I saw that sacrificial card come up a couple of times. We're now seeing the magician, the dark ritual card. Okay, what are your thoughts? Thank you so much for watching. True crime readings are always a little bit more draining than any other kind of readings. But thank you so much for watching.